WRSR, Owasso, Flint. The following program has been pre-recorded and is paid for by Discover Flint Township. The views expressed are those of Discover Flint Township and do not necessarily reflect the views of 103.9 The Fox or Krill Communications, Inc. Welcome to Discover Flint Township, a program showcasing our local community. Flint Township is ready for your next move. And now, your host, Flint Township Economic Enhancement Director, Tracy Tucker.
I'm Tracy Tucker, and this is Discover Flint Township, brought to you by Flint Township Economic Development Authorities, HAP, Financial Plus Credit Union, Shea Automotive Group, and 103.9 The Fox. We're wide awake and ready for your next move. This morning, we are speaking with Teresa Williams, and she is from the McLaren Hospitality House. She is going to tell us a little bit about what they do there. A lot of people don't realize they're there. But we also will shine our guaranteed rate business spotlight on Signs By Crannie. We've got a lot to talk about, so I want to get started with Teresa. Hi, Teresa. How are you?
Hi, Tracy. I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we wanted to have you. A lot of people don't realize that the hospitality house is even there, or if they know it's there, they don't understand what the mission is. But before we get into that, why don't you introduce yourself and let everybody know what you do at McLaren Hospitality House.
Well, thank you. So, as you said, my name is Teresa Williams, and I have lived in Flint my whole life and very proud of that. And working at McLaren, I was actually brought on board because of my hospitality background, which makes sense because we're the hospitality house. Yeah. But our mission is truly to take care of families whose loved ones are ill. And they are at McLaren Flint. So we know that McLaren Flint does a great job taking care of their medical issues. What we do is we support the families by giving them a place to stay, and additionally, just helping love on them a little bit while they're loving on their family members at the hospital.
That's nice, and it's a beautiful facility. I've been in there a couple times, and it's tied to McLaren, and it's also tied to the Proton Center, right?
That's exactly correct. So the hospitality house was actually a catalyst because of the Proton Therapy Center. So for those of you who don't know, proton therapy is actually a cancer treatment that is specifically for solid tumor cancers. And the best way to describe is that it's a very precise way to treat folks who have tumors that are in areas that we don't want to affect the surrounding tissue. Right. So it's like a shotgun approach. I mean, it is precise, very, they're able to treat the cancer without affecting the outside cells, the healthy cells, and actually, it's more like a sniper approach. I should say.
Yeah, it's more like a rifle than a scatter shot of a shotgun.
Exactly.
Right. Not that I'm a weapons expert or anything.
Right.
But yeah, so my understanding, and I'm going off on a wild goose chase here. My understanding of the proton therapy is it can pinpoint the treatment so small that, they were saying, like, if you're trying to hit a Cheerio in a pond of water, it's kind of like that they can hit the Cheerio dead on.
Exactly.
So it's that was one of the doctors trying to describe to me, trying to put it like dumbing it down.
Exactly.
But yeah, so which is a great approach because a lot of times the treatments you get for it affects your whole body. Absolutely. Instead of just the tumor, right?
Absolutely. And that's why it's so critical when you have a tumor that's located maybe near your heart or other vital organs. We do a great job with photon therapy, but unfortunately, without it being quite so precise, we unfortunately do damage to the surrounding tissue, which could include the heart, the lungs, the kidneys. So those are areas that we really want to be very precise and do as little damage and hopefully just to the cancer cells and get rid of them while preserving that healthy tissue. And then one of the best parts about it is that people tend not to have the side effects that can go along with other treatments.
Right. That's what I was going to ask, because, when you have chemotherapy or something like that, it affects your whole system, your whole body. And this is more targeted, so it's only affecting those cells. So you probably don't have the recovery time that you would have like with chemo and stuff like that. Is that true?
Exactly.
Okay.
And we actually have quite a few families where the patient themselves is staying at the hospitality house. So we get to see them throughout their entire treatment. So they're coming from Grand Rapids, Lansing, up north, Sheboygan. We've got them coming from primarily all over the state of Michigan. But those folks, they stay in our house because at the Proton Therapy Center, they're only needed for about an hour to basically do their whole treatment, but it is a fragmented treatment, very similarly to what regular proton therapy would be. So they get a little bit every day for 5 days a week, and then they come back to the hospitality house, and quite frankly, they're vital parts of our community. They're eating in our restaurants, they're going shopping at our retail facilities, so they have a lot of time on their hands.
So it's kind of like medical tourism.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to put
Not
it.
that we're saying that we want people to need that medical attention, but if they do need it, it's great to have that there. And it's great that they don't have to stay in a hospital while they're going through that, because that just adds to the trauma of the event.
Absolutely.
So also, you don't charge them like an arm and a leg to stay there, right?
That's right.
What would people normally have to pay? Does their insurance cover it, or does it? How does that work?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Most insurances will not cover it. We have run across to very occasional folks where they will help them with it. And I'm glad that you asked that, because that's one of the things I'm most proud of when it comes to what McLaren does for our families and our community. So as you guys know, staying at a hotel can become very costly, and it's not we'll give you a discount necessarily because you're staying for 5 to 9 weeks. At our house, we never turn away a family based on their ability to pay. So there is a suggested donation, and for those families that are going to be there long term, that suggestion is $35 a night. Well, right, you could probably
stay
guess.
in campground for that,
right? And you can, as you probably can guess, it doesn't even cover the cost of keeping on the lights, quite frankly. So, but the best thing is that we also raise funds throughout the year to help those families who cannot make that minimum suggested donation. So if they're unable to pay, or they're only able to pay a portion of that, we have something called the Nights of Hope, and that fund will kick in and cover the rest of their lack that they're not able to meet. And I had a family just talk to me and was saying, when you have cancer, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is you're still having those bills at home. You still got a mortgage and a car payment and anything else. That doesn't stop. And cancer can be a very expensive disease, unfortunately. So it is a great way for us to pay it forward and to make sure, once again, that that's one of the things that we can take out of the stress of dealing with cancer.
Yeah, your whole life stops, but your bills don't. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you have these Nights of Hope. So how can our listeners help out? Is there a place they can sign up to get notices when these things are coming up, or how do you handle that right now?
Well, we have a lot of areas where families could help. We do have a decent number of people who are relatives or workers or something that will make a financial donation to cover a family's stay. So that's always an option. We also have restaurants that will bring in a meal for a family, or sometimes churches or organizations that will make a meal and bring it in. And right now, of course, it's really just dropping it off. Under normal circumstances, they could actually come in and socialize with our guests, but right now we're just asking them to drop it off.
Right.
But also, if your organization is looking for someone to support, we're always interested in food drives for non-perishable items. Things of that nature really do help, because we don't have food, that there's not hot food available there for them to pick up every day. They're basically responsible for making their own food. But several times we have families that just pitch in together, and then they make a community meal or something like that.
Right, because you're... While people think of the hospitality house as probably like a hotel room type setting, it's really not. You have like common areas with kitchen areas where a family can actually make their own dinner and keep their normalcy as much as possible, obviously, when you're not at home, but they can keep that sense of normalcy for the whole family, right?
That's exactly right. And that's one of the things that when we were thinking about this and we were building the hospitality house, we really did want it to feel more like a home and less like a hotel. We have some great features like a hotel will. I mean, you don't have to bring your own towels or sheets or any of that. We supply all of that stuff. But what we do offer is, like you said, common areas where people can gather. And it's really amazing. We have families. Right now, we have 2 families that are in house, and both of their loved ones suffered from a stroke. And they were actually flown in here, one from Port Huron, the other from Sheboygan. And those families met in the kitchen, and they actually created their own support group, and they really do help each other. They talk about the clinical stuff, and then they also talk about meal planning or baking or something of that nature.
That's great, because the support system is key to any recovery.
You're exactly
and even
right.
just getting through the treatments. It helps to have somebody there that knows what you're going through.
You're exactly right. And I know, don't we all cherish that time when people can truly empathize with you because they understand. And to be going through it at a current time, there's nothing better than that. And I love to think, too, that our staff, we immediately become their family members because sometimes they come and it's literally the patient that's at a hospital and the family member. And so they have no one else in the area, and they really look to us, even at most times, just to talk or have a shoulder to cry on or, just vent to us.
Sure.
So I kind of consider ourselves counselors and mothers and family and all that stuff. And it really is. I'm quite frankly honored to be able to call McLaren my home and the hospitality house because it's just a neat place to be. We always say we don't want families to need us, but if they need us, we want them to know that we're there for them.
Right. That's a great way to put it. Unlike my stumbling rant that I had about it, but you don't want them to need you, but you want them to know you're there if they do, type thing. So, how can people get more information on how to help you out or to get information if they need the house?
Well, thank you. So a couple things. So Proton Therapy, they do a terrific job helping us to basically give us patients' names and schedule tours and such for them.
Okay.
So that's probably a good place to start. If you go to mclaren.org/Proton, that will take you directly to the Proton Therapy page. But in addition to that, if you're interested in helping with any task at the hospitality house, please give us a call. I mean, we have folks that are coming in at the end of this month that are going to do some cleanup outside for us.
Okay.
We have a church that comes in that plays a little music in the corner on some nights. And you can reach us at the hospitality house, and the best way to do that is just to give us a call. Our phone number there is 810-820-9800, and anyone can help you with any of the opportunities that we have to help.
That's great. And we'll probably have you on again sometime later in the year because I'd like to talk about how you work with the colleges with their hospitality programs, because that's a really interesting topic as well. But I want to remind people, you talking about people coming in to help pick up. The township is doing a Pick It Up, You Can Make a Difference campaign in conjunction with Earth Day, which was April 22nd. But every weekend from April 24th through May 22nd, people are going to be meeting at different locations throughout the township to pick it up. So we are, you can get more information on that at our website at flinttownship.org, Or you can get more information or join the event on our Facebook page, which is at Flint Township Events, FLINTTWPEVENTS. And I want to thank you for coming in today, Teresa. It was really interesting. I think there's a lot of people that don't realize what some of the buildings in our township are. And I think that is one of those hidden gems that people need to know is there. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, today we shine our guaranteed rate business spotlight on Signs by Crannie. We have Dan Crannie from Signs by Crannie here today. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you do at Signs by Crannie?
Well, yeah, I'm Dan Crannie, founder of Signs by Crannie, and we're a local-based sign manufacturer, and we manufacture signs for all over the Midwest and beyond. Actually, we have signs in Venezuela, Portugal, Brazil, Russia, Germany.
That is so cool. You told me that once before, and I was like, that must be really amazing to know that something you created is in this far off land, right? It's really cool. Now, did you? I'm going off script, our outline. So he's like, "Oh my God, she's asking me weird questions." Did you actually go down to Venezuela to install it, or no?
We did not. We had a customer that had a program that they needed signs all around the world, and so we had to develop a system that they could have a local installer put up. So we designed it with for an easy install and directions how to do it. And
you have to give them the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. And the thing is, we had to do it in other languages. I didn't even think about that. We had to depend on translators through the company to so that we could translate the directions and even the spelling on the signs had to be in other languages.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it was
And did
crazy.
that affect your design, too? Because, I mean, the size of the word might change and
It did, but we designed the sign with that in mind.
Obviously,
that we could adjust as needed per country.
That's pretty cool. Wow, that brought up a lot of things in my mind. Like, does a hex bolt translate? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's why we had to make it really simple.
I guess, yeah. So I got way off track there, but that's okay. So you do stuff for all over the world, which is amazing. And now you've been in Flint Township quite a while. You used to be here, you left, you came back. We're so glad you're here. We love having you here. But how long have you actually been in business? What year did you start?
85. So
85.
We just celebrated, what would be 36 years.
Wow. That's amazing. And now, when did you move on to Marketplace? How long ago was that?
April of 2015, so 6 years ago. Almost exactly.
Yeah, so if you drive on I-69 or if you're on Bristol Road by the airport, they see your big tower on your building that says Signs by Crannie, which is really cool. That shows up really nice. He's a sign guy. He knows how to make it look good. So now you also have other locations besides just the one in Flint Township. Is that true?
Yeah, we have a second location in Fort Myers, Florida. And
you just wanted to be a snowbird.
Well, I used to go down there on vacation with my daughters for spring break, and there was just this huge void. Nobody would. As I talked to other business owners as we're on the beach, they said nobody would show up. They would call people and they wouldn't show up. I'm like, well, if all you got to do is show up, I can make money in that market, And so,
yeah, no kidding. I think I can do that.
It took right off.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, that's really cool. And then, but you're involved personally in the industry, right? I mean, not just in your company. You are part of is it the National Sign Association and the International Sign Association? What is that?
I'm the immediate past president of the Midwest Sign Association, which covers 6 states. And so I served on their board and right through the president and past president. And I'm just finished my last duties as past president. But we're also members of the International Sign Association and the World Sign Associates. Yeah. So we have a network of companies that the elite sign companies all over North America.
Yeah, and it's not easy to become members of those associations. I mean, there's some, you have to meet some criteria, right? It's not like, oh, hey, Tracy, you made a sign, you can be part of our organization. Yeah. It's very prestigious that you're part of these, is what I'm saying.
yeah, especially the World Sign Associates. There's only 3 companies in Michigan that qualified.
Wow.
And we're one of them. And, they audit you. You have to have statements from building departments in your community, your work areas. So, yeah, it's pretty extensive.
Yeah, that's amazing. But also because you're a part of these, you're privy to some of the trends that are happening not only here but throughout the world and what's coming our way. So what are some of the challenges you're seeing facing the industry today? Some
of the industry challenges are like permits. There's a lot of communities that the building departments and the city offices aren't even open. Or they're working remotely. It used to take 4 or 5 weeks to get a permit in Detroit. Now it's 3-4 months.
Oh my gosh.
In cities, like just local communities, that used to be a couple weeks are 4 or 5 weeks.
Wow.
So people, if they're not really planning ahead, they're not giving us enough time to get permits before we can even build the sign.
Yeah, like me. I need a sign next week, Dan. Can you get that done for me?
We hear that a lot.
Oops. But there's also, not only from the COVID aspect, but also with the changing landscape of business, that probably affects your company a lot.
It does,
the changing with there's a change from brick and mortar to internet and things like that. So how has that affected your business landscape?
Well, it's definitely affected what our client looks like now, because there some businesses that were frequent buyers are closing now. So unfortunately, we're taking down signs. But there's always change. Miller Road shows that there's always something leaving and something replacing it. So it seems solid for us for work, but the customer has changed, a lot.
And the type of thing, now, do you do like the skins for like food trucks and stuff like that?
We do, we do big wraps and everything from NASCAR to little, Volkswagen Beetles. People are wrapping all kinds of vehicles.
That is so funny.
Yeah,
I love it when I see those little cars with some type of wrap on them, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, also, you can probably overcome these challenges by doing good work, which is normally the big one, price. But you do a lot of the designing, right? Not everybody's coming to you with what they want done. You do good design work, right?
Oh, yeah. And being from the design field myself, I think that's one of the things that made our company stand out over the years, is because we put so much effort in design, and we're, my designers are top notch. They do fantastic work, and once people, sometimes they want something simple, but once they've seen really cool, it's hard to go back to simple,
right?
And so we just do really cool design, and I think over the years that attitude has elevated design all over mid-Michigan, because people want cool.
And it's changed from what cool is. I mean, years ago, the neon was a big thing, and then a lot more with the digital. Now it seems like using natural looking products or natural products combined with natural looking products, to where it's more of a landscape look than a sign look, right?
Exactly.
But it's still a sign.
The creativity is, unlimited. And so we design stuff with a lot of those natural components, stone and some of the synthetics, different composite woods, like the decking material and stuff, makes great incorporated into a sign design,
Oh, yeah. I'll tell my husband, take that Ultra Deck stuff and build a sign. No, just kidding. I have one of the things I want to talk to you about, too, is digital. So a lot of things are changing. We have this never-ending need of gratification, like instant. And I think a lot of the digital is that where people are getting their information, boom, boom, boom. Is that true, or how's that working?
Absolutely. And we're seeing that everything from schools, churches, restaurants, especially through COVID. People wanted to communicate quicker with their audience, their customer, that they were open for indoor, outdoor, drive-through. So that has really elevated, the need for instant messaging. And when you think about our society today, everybody you see walking around, they're looking at some sort of digital tablet or phone,
right?
Or something.
And, they've always got something.
And so if you're not communicating like your average church, Grandpa's church, if they're not talking digitally to their potential audience,
right,
they're not listening.
Right.
So if you just have an old sign that you're sticking letters on, they're not reading that.
Right.
But you put a message center out there, now they're listening. Now you're talking their language. And,
yes.
It's huge.
And when you do that, you can have your message running 24/7, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so that TV commercial you used to put on the radio or TV or in the newspaper, when you think about those mediums, they've changed so much. Now your sign is your commercial. 24/7 in front of your business, and you're not competing with every other commercial or every other channel or satellite radio.
Right. Right.
Your message is right in front of your customer.
Yeah. So how can people find out more about Signs by Crannie?
Well, you can go to our website at signsbycrannie.com. Our Facebook page, also Signs by Crannie. You can call in. We can send somebody out to talk about your signage needs, or stop into the office. We do tours all the time.
It is really a cool building,
thanks.
too. So if you do get a chance to stop by, it's a good idea.
We've tried to make it a show place where you can come and, if you're having a sign made, you can come see it made, check the progress, So we're one of the few companies that still manufactures in-house, and we actually manufacture for other sign companies around the Midwest that don't have the capabilities we have. We've got some of the best craftsmen in the business.
Yeah, I know you do. And, I want to thank Dan for coming in, but I want to remind our listeners, visit us at Facebook at Flint Township Events, our YouTube channel, Discover Flint Township, our website, our webpage, discoverflinttownship.com, our other website, flinttownship.org. And I want to thank our guests, Teresa and Dan. And I will do a video of Signs by Crannie that we'll have up on YouTube so that everybody can see what an amazing building and the signs he has there. And inside, he has some old signs from around the community that you'll recognize. And I will take pictures of those. He might not want me to, but I am good. Anyway, so I want to thank our partners, HAP, Shea Automotive Group, Financial Plus Credit Union, Guaranteed Rate, and 103.9 The Fox. You can listen to us next week, and we'll have Bridget from HAP and Sandy from the Popcorn Wagon. This is Tracy Tucker, the Flint Township Economic Enhancement Director, and I would like to remind everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, shop local, buy local, and discover Flint Township. See you later.
This has been Discover Flint Township with Tracy Tucker. For more information, visit discoverflinttownship.com. Flint Township is ready for your next move. The preceding program was pre-recorded and was paid for by Discover Flint Township. The views expressed are those of Discover Flint Township and do not necessarily reflect the views of 103.9 The Fox or Krill Communications, Inc.